Yo, what's going down, Green Screen Entertainment fans? Your homie Jay Green, back right now with my thoughts and feelings on Dracula, a Love Tale. Now, this movie was written and directed by Luc Besson, the same dude that brought us classics like The Professional and The Fifth Element. And it's based on Bram Stoker's 1897 novel, Dracula. So the plot to this movie basically runs like this. We are following Prince Vladimir, played by Banshee from X-Men First Class. This dude and his merry men head out to a little battle. They kill a bunch of fools, but then the ops send some dudes back to the kingdom, kill his wife, and because she dies and God doesn't save her, this fool goes crazy, kills a priest, denounces God, and then is somehow granted the gift of immortality and becomes a vampire, meant to wander the world looking for his one true love to be reincarnated. Now, straight up, this flick didn't really work for me. Now, of course, I'm not going to give y'all any real spoilers to this film. I think it was okay. If you're really interested in seeing it and you like a vampire movie or a Dracula movie a little bit more based on the love side versus the blood, the guts, and the killing and the whole town going after this dude, then this might be the one for you. I will say that some highlights of the film that maybe weren't as developed as I wish they would have been were the fact that Dracula did have a little bit of conflict as to how he was doing what he was doing. He had a little bit of conflict into the choices that he made, denouncing God and putting himself into the position that he's in. So that was interesting. I just wish the film had explored it a little bit better than what they gave us. And also, to piggyback off of that thought, sometimes in movies, you're going to get a character with that conflict. And one, it's interesting to see that character going through said conflict, trying to figure out what they're actually going to do. And then two, maybe that conflict that they have is something that we can kind of think about and put ourselves in their position like, man, what would I do if I had this opportunity, this power, this one wish, whatever it may be? And again, I just feel like the film didn't explore that enough for me to be invested truly in this dude's plight. So when it came to him really finding his true love and how it was all going to turn out, I was like, all right, I hope he finds her. I hope he gets what he wants, but I'm cool either way. Now, some of the things that didn't work for me, even if a movie doesn't have the best story or there's a whole lot of plot holes, that's cool. There's a lot of different things that might entice you to want to see that movie or actually like that film. When you're looking at a movie like this, centuries old, we're talking about like the 14th century or whatever the hell it was, early 19th century, you know what I'm saying? I'm no historian here, okay? You're thinking about a movie that's going to have a look and an aesthetic that we are not used to. So if I'm looking at like Crimson Peak, if I'm looking at Last Voyage of the Demeter, if I'm looking at Interview with the Vampire, if I'm looking at something like a Peaky Blinders, a Warrior, something like this, there's an aesthetic, there's a swag to it that is beautiful on screen, and even if the story might not be up to par, you're still at least entertained with what you're watching, right? Again, it's a vampire movie, so maybe the story or the plot details are not up to par, but then there's the action, the blood, the guts, the lust, the sexy women, whatever it may be. This movie just didn't really feel like it had those elements in the way that I feel like it should have had those elements in 2026. This actually looked like a BBC TV show hosted by a Fathom event in theaters. It looked very cheap to me. There was no real style or swag or cinematography to write home about with this one, and I feel like it should have had that, based on a lot of films as of late that we've gotten that take place back in the day. And because of that, a lot of the scenes that probably wanted to come off more dramatic and impactful on an emotional level kind of came off cheesy just because of the way that it was shot and the way that it was directed. I thought the acting was fine from our lead actors, Christoph Waltz, Caleb Landry, Zoe Blue, just to be specific. Everyone else was cool, but again, the way that it was shot, the way that it was directed, the story, the plot holes, those things like that, just made it kind of like, whatever. I will say that the makeup for Dracula was pretty dope, and when there was some blood and guts, that was kind of cool. They had some CGI gargoyles in here that were like his minions to do his bidding around the castle, but I think that they looked way better in Shazam. Again, think about the technology that we have in today's films. The CGI gargoyles should have looked effing dope. You could have some real fun with that, especially because I ain't never seen no gargoyles in a Dracula movie. So that's something new and fresh, and it wasn't really brought to full fruition. So I really wouldn't recommend that this is a movie you go check out at the theater. Again, especially if you're busy, probably just wait for it on streaming. What I would recommend though, if you're interested in some vampire swag, is if you want something with a little bit more of a story that spans centuries, phenomenal acting, dope aesthetics, then you're gonna want to check out that Interview with the Vampire. Come on now, Anne Rice ain't playing around. That's a phenomenal film, right? Now, if you want a vampire movie that's a little bit more up to date, a little bit more modern, still takes place way back in the day, dealing with some Dracula swag and gives you some legitimate kills and makes Dracula a formative foe, then you probably want to check out The Last Voyage of the Demeter. I like that movie. Not really talked about, maybe not that well received, but I thought it was pretty fly. What say y'all? Are y'all vampire fans? Are you trying to check this little love story out? Valentine's Day is coming, baby. Okay? Yo, whatever y'all think, comment below. Your homie, Jay Green. I'm out.